Let's see if this works. Let's see if this actually works. Oof, it's a little bit tall. Yeah, that kind of works, I guess. All right. So, hello. Hello from the world of tomorrow. How are you guys doing today? My name is RODGON. I am coming at you from a bed in my sister's house. I'm trying to see if this little baby setup is going to work. Look at this. So I have my iPad stuff with my iMac, holding it down, angling it up with a backpack. And then I'm just placing the phone at an angle so it doesn't slip. And then I have myself a drawing surface. La-da! So, where there is a will, there is a way. Remember that. Where there's a will, there's a way. And if you want to actually draw and do the things you want to do, you're going to find a way to do it, regardless if it's the most convenient or not. All right. So, we can have a decent lesson today. It's going to be a little shaky, but I hope that you guys don't mind too much. Ooh, hold on. Let me try something. Where's the hole? There you go. Oh my God, I think I got it. Perfect. Yes. Because I can put, there's like a little hole in the little like iPad thingy. So perfect. Awesome. Now I just have to rotate this a little bit so I can actually see the chat. Perfect. Oh, that works so good. Perfect. All right. Hello, everybody. Winciple Wingus. How are you? Let's see. What should we draw today? What should we draw? You guys want to draw food? You guys want to like just draw like pieces of food? I can teach you guys how to do that stuff because this is all perspective. All this stuff that when it comes down to food and items and like, you know, like a salad bowl would be like something like that. That's a half circle with a couple cylinders inside. That could be a cereal bowl too. Some milk. Things like milk cartons are really easy because they're just little boxes. Right? So understanding perspective. It's not just because we want to be able to draw things in like landscapes and in fields and a scene and all that stuff. You know, it's not because of that. It's good to be able to do that. And it's lovely to be able to just tell a story and like not be impeded by anything, right? So that's like the goal that we want to achieve to. We want to achieve being able to create from our brain without any impediments. And normally, a lot of the times, not gonna point fingers or playing games or anything, but a lot of the times what we do is we skip on these things because they're hard. And drawing things that are hard or not necessarily the most entertaining, because houses and stuff like that might not seem entertaining to you at first. But when you're able to draw anything from buildings to landscapes to, you know, cityscapes to everything in between because you know this stuff, man, does it not open up a lot of possibilities? Okay, so you need to understand the value of each one of the things you're learning and seeing it as an asset as opposed to always seeing things as like something annoying. Oh, I have to learn perspective. Oh, I have to do this. I have to go take anatomy classes. Oh, like, no, dude, you get to. You know, that's the thing. You don't have to. You get to. And that's a very interesting distinction that normally happens only after you realize that art school and shit like that doesn't last forever. You know, like you don't get to just play at being artist for as long as you want, unless you either decide to make it into something more serious or you find a way to maintain that happiness with it. So that is just something that comes along with your career, and it's going to happen. But learning how to use basic perspective is going to help you make even simple characters, ta-da, feel like they're a little bit more alive. Like you don't have to have a super high complicated design to make something look like it has a story. You don't really require much except a couple lines and a lot of knowledge. And if you learn that, then you can start using all your elements to tell stories in your own way. And that is the whole point, right? The whole point is to be able to take all these, like little lessons that I teach you and be able to tell the stories that you guys want to tell. My story is that of being a teacher. So me teaching you guys every day is part of my story. What's yours? I saw a beautiful post today that says, we all share the same sky, but we don't all share the same story. So what's your story? Mine is trying to change the world one student at a time. And trying to see if I can make a difference like that. That's my story. I went and brought me a sketchbook. Yay! That is awesome. I'm so happy. You got yourself a sketchbook. Sketchbooks are fun. Sketchbooks are one of the most, if you use it right, it's one of the most enjoyable and most fulfilling things you can ever accomplish. Like filling up a sketchbook is one of those feelings that like very few people will ever be able to feel. And if you have ever done it before, it's like finalizing a journal, right? It's like finalizing an era of your life. And it symbolizes so much more than just like finishing a little book of doodles. It's normally like a gigantic step in progression that you see. You normally see like a huge like amount of your emotions being portrayed into your drawings. Like there's so much that goes into being like able to complete one of those. And it's normally, unless you're like me and you're like a complete beast at this, it normally takes years to normally complete one. So normally it's a even bigger accomplishment, It's like a gigantic step. You're like, yes. And the level of pride that you feel is like intense. Like, yes. So I highly suggest that you guys at one point in your lives take the time to actually, I don't know if that's working because the focus is throwing it off. Dude, I love your stuff. You're so inspiring. Continue the good work. Well, thank you for saying that. That's nice of you to say. Yeah, it's finally getting traction. So the things that I'm doing, they're finally paying back dividends, and it's become really, really, really nice to see a lot of people jump on the bandwagon of understanding your very basic elements, like just scaling things up and down can bring them up in space, back in space, and just connecting the edges. And that's all you need to do to create depth. So doing exercises like this one right here are exercises that help you understand how to do depth. Connecting two circles is very easy. connecting 3 circles. It's not any harder. And then using that knowledge to be able to draw something like a hand doesn't really take a big leap forward from there. If you know how to connect everything else, drawing the rest of the body just becomes finishing a puzzle. And when you have abilities like that and the connecting points for your body parts, and you know how to move them around with simple cylinders, well, then things just become a little bit easier to pose. Now, a lot of people will tell you that, drawing your body parts from cylinders is the way to do it, right? But not a lot of people tell you and explain to you why. This is not going to make sense until you understand how the body connects to your limbs. This will always be like a floating thing where you just draw a circle. And you can get pretty far with this. Just with this knowledge alone, you can get really far. But understanding how the legs connect to the body is what perfects this technique. So understanding that your body parts connect at an angle from your body instead of just a circle. It is still a circle, but it's more like an oval. And then you just do your other body parts like that. You end up with a better semblance of how your body parts connect. This is normally through indications of just our basic shapes. This is taking a little bit of the anatomy into play. So, if we start using that sort of technique, then cylinders make a lot more sense. They don't look static, and they don't look robotic, like it would if you did them like this. It starts making sense how they come out of the body. So now that is one of the very basic concepts that I like to teach first. And the way that we progress to that from nothing, from absolutely nothing, is you go like this. Hey, oh, you want to go out? You can go out. You want to go play? Go. Go play. Mustache is loving being at my sister's house because she has puppies. So he gets to play with puppies. Useful for furry art, but let's see, hold on. Anyways, so yeah, this is the very basic exercise that I like to do for people. I like to use a simple circle, and I want you guys to divide this into 4. Okay? Dividing it into 4 can be as simple as just drawing an axe in there, but there's a better way. If you draw a circle and you draw a circle inside, this gives you a curvy guideline in the front. If you do the same thing, you get one for going around the side. So drawing 2 circles inside of your normal circle gives you a little baby round body. This is going to give you your front, your back, your left, your right, and everything in between. Now, you're going to take these little sections and you're going to divide them into circles, like a little turtle. If you do it in 3/4, it looks like this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to do a little U, or like a little horn, coming from this point, coming out, and touching that point. Okay? You're going to get really used to just this very basic concept. Once you get used to this, now you're going to separate the difference between the uppers, or from the upper body and the lower body. You're going to take that same concept, but now your legs are going to go down And your arms are going to go to the side. And now it's starting to look a little bit more like a body. At this stage, you can play around with this all you want and come up with a bunch of different fun things for your character. Like you can straight up tell stories at this level, okay? By just learning how that works, you can move your characters into all sorts of positions. If you want to create really cute characters, stuff like that. At this stage, you can now create chibi bodies. Really easy because it's just a circle, dividing it into 4 with a circle or with an X, whatever's easier for now. Choosing those quadrants and drawing little circles from them, and then deciding what you want to do with those parts. Okay, and you can move those body parts in any direction you want. Same thing with these. So understanding the body at that level is normally the beginning. Understanding then that you can extend these parts later when you get good at this, you can extend them back one more time and you have yourself more long body parts. Yay! So by doing this again on the bottom, you give yourself the bottom part of your leg. And then you can do the same thing since you have a connecting point. You do the same thing. You always connect back to those points. And if you do that, you're going to find posing incredibly simple. Imagine if you can only draw characters like this, right? Just standing up and down. If that's the only thing you can do, the connecting points with your legs, with your body, draw a circle there. Whatever shape you have here, now you can move this in any direction you want, and all you have to do is connect it back to those holes. Now you have access to moving your leg in all sorts of directions. Because now you have the connecting point. Once you find those circles, everything else is just knowing how to move a cylinder in space. And then style comes after. So that is essentially how you go and you progress from one to the other, to the other, to the other. And this is not even with anatomy in mind. This is just by understanding one simple concept. And that is that your body, your legs, and your appendages connect at an angle. At an angle. And if you find that angle, the appendages look like appendages, regardless of what you draw. Okay? So that is one very basic concept that is going to be prevalent in drawing characters, regardless of the styling of them. Later on, when you want to progress from that, instead of making one circle, you make an oval. And you start pushing the elements to the edges. On the circle, they would be really close together, right? So you maintain this, and then you stretch out the bottom. You maintain this, and you stretch out the top, creating a separate section. So now you have 1, 2, 3 sections. Those 3 sections also need a little space in between, because you have your goodies for your legs, you have your genitals, and in the top you have your head. Ta-da! Again, we kind of look like turtles. Oh, you're done playing and now you want to come back for attention? Sit down. Good boy. So essentially, yeah, we're kind of like turtles. And then once you start learning anatomy, you can apply that anatomy to that, and it just becomes a rib cage in the form of an egg. Your hip bones become from a circle, and you end up with a really simple body system that you can use. Yo. Boom. And this is what I normally use to draw my characters. I get to this point. So anatomy, but this basic foundations of your bodies, this is what's going to teach you the core of what you're supposed to be building. So this is the most important part of learning the body. It's not necessarily learning like all the muscles and stuff. Like, what good is knowing all the muscle structure and knowing all the muscle fibers and stuff if you don't know where to put it? If you don't know where to put it, all that is pointless. Your lessons in anatomy are going to be more consistent with understanding what parts of your body come out of where and how they work with each other than it's going to be about learning the muscles. That is more important. Just learning how and what angles and what limitations your body parts have. That's more important than learning how the muscles are structured. Because without knowing that, you can't draw muscles. Without understanding that, it's really hard to draw muscles. Because you're always going to be thinking of weird body shapes. So look at an angle, right? An angle, let's draw sushi, which is just that. And then on this side, we'll draw a more complicated leg. So if I were to have to bend this, if I wanted to bend this, I would just go like this. Literally just bend it. If I wanted to bend this, now I have to take into consideration the folding. I have to take into consideration the volume, going back in perspective, like this. But if I wanted to get that same result, I would find my position and then just add my volume after. This is so much easier. This becomes harder, way harder, because you actually need to know how the muscle fibers and everything show up. The same reason why drawing somebody that's a little pudgier is always going to be infinitely easier to draw than a person that is really skinny, because a person that's really skinny requires a lot more of the showing of anatomy. So you need to understand how your stomach and your bones work and your clavicle and your jaw structure, because you need to just make sure you draw them super skinny. And skinny means that you see more bone. Drawing somebody that's a little chunkier is so much easier because you don't have to draw any of that. You need to know where it is, but you don't have to draw it, and that helps. So when you're learning to structure things, start with simple shapes like ovals, squares, stuff like that, and then learn just how your body flows from there. Whichever way feels more comfortable is going to be the way that you're going to be able to gesture things so much easier. And that way, whenever you guys go out in public and you draw people on their phones, because that's all they do, you guys will be able to do it really easy. So that is going to be really close to the end of our stream today. I'm glad that I still got to teach. I'm happy that I got to go on here. I didn't think that I was going to be able to go on here. And I was like, no, my peoples need me. No, not that you need me or anything, but I just enjoy coming here and teaching you guys. And it does make me feel really happy. It brings me full of joy whenever I get to draw with you guys. So I'm going to try to do it as much as I can, as often as I can, for the foreseeable future. Thank you guys so much for being my drawing buddies. You guys have been excellent students today. If you guys do want homework, I can give you guys some homework real quickly. The homework can be simple. Play around with shapes like this, right? What was this? This is literally just circles being connected. Draw a circle, draw another circle, and connect the edges. Draw another circle, connect the edges. Draw a bigger circle, connect the edges. Draw a smaller circle, connect the edges. And then learn how foreshortening works like that. Understanding that through circles is going to be easy. You can do it through squares too, but that becomes a little bit more complicated because you have to keep track of the edges. But you can do the same thing. Okay? Learning how to draw through your objects is a very critical role. And you have to learn how to do that in some way or another. So this is going to be the best way to do it at first. Then what you're going to do is you're going to draw these guys. You're going to take a circle. You're going to take two more circles, crisscross them, and you're going to come up with this little shape, this one. You're going to draw little quadrant circles going around the shape. You already have the shape, right? You already have the circle. All you're going to do is trace around that circle and close the gap. Trace around that circle and close the gap. And then from those, you're going to draw little arms. And that's how you get these. Those will help you progress to drawing little cute bodies. From there, when you're ready to progress to the next stage, you add a separate section to these. You go like this. And now you have a second section. Actually, that's crooked. You get the idea. And then you end up with this. And then from there, you stretch them out so you have a little bit more space in between. And then you progress from there to add anatomy and muscles and stuff like that. But that is going to be the very core way to build a body from scratch. And along the way, you get to draw all the chibi bodies and characters and cute things that you guys want. So it works out pretty well. You get to learn as you have fun instead of just taking forever and forever and forever to get to like a final outcome of something that you enjoy, which was always a nightmare. I hated having to like, oh, well, don't worry, it'll pay off at the end. Don't worry, it'll pay off at the end. You just have to draw it for a quadrillion years before it pays off. Fuck that. Nah. Give me instant gratification or get out. How instant gratification, dude. Just sipping on a Slurpee. All right, so in review, you guys should be able to now grab a simple circle, be able to create little chibi bodies from them, and with practice and time, you guys will realize that you will be able to pose a lot more than just little chibi bodies if you take this stuff into consideration, okay? You're going to be able to draw a bunch more things and be able to pose your characters much, much simpler in time. It's going to take a while. Okay? It's going to take a while to get to the point where I'm doing it as easy as I'm doing it, but you will get there. And it's not like a guessing if you can't get there, because it's not like I'm making anybody guess anything. This is not left into artistic interpretation. This is literally just following directions and visualizing things in a certain way. This will unlock a part of your imagination, and then you guys are going to be able to go out and do a lot more stuff than I'm even explaining to you guys with this. Okay? Unlocking this is key. Because all this stuff is the key. Okay? Keep that in mind. Once you unlock it, there's no putting it back in. So you guys are kind of stuck with that knowledge from now on. You guys have a wonderful day. I'm about to go out and about. I'm going to go find more decorations for my house, hopefully, because they're painting it right now, and I get to actually enjoy my living space. So I got to fill my car with stuff to bring over to Mexico. You guys are awesome. Take care. And I hope you guys learned a lot. Later, Gators.